Black 2 Publishing. So what you guys been up to this time?
Yo, what's up, what's up? It's Omari Malik, Black Truth Publishing, right here at Fan Expo Philly, doing the thing that we've been doing all year. So all year we've just been kind of pumping out our 3 original series, which are Adastria, Snakebite, and Dogpile. So I've been really trying to push the one-shots that are basically pilots as I gear up to drop the first arcs.
Okay. So if I could ask, right? What was I don't think I went over I don't think I asked about Snakebite the first time we met. What's that about?
Yeah, so Snakebite, that's kind of my ode to like hood movies like Juice or Boys in the Hood. So that story's about a guy who's recently got out of juvenile detention. He's kind of at a crossroads in his life. He doesn't really know what he wants to do. Him and his friends, to celebrate him getting out of juvie, they decide to all get tattoos. His tattoos happen to give him superpowers, so on top of the stress of just getting out and wanting to change for the better, now he has powers that are making him even more conflicted, because he's at a point where it's like, I could be a superhero, I can do something better, or I can double down on what I'm doing in the streets and get into even more trouble and kind of being a supervillain. So It's kind of that story about that crossroads, kind of that moment of like, when Trey's in the car with Doughboy, is he gonna go slide for Ricky, or is he gonna get out and go to college? You know, kind of that scene in Juice where, you know, Q doesn't know if he wants to stay at the DJ competition or go rob the convenience store. So, you know.
So when creating your books, right? Was there any characters that got cut, like you probably didn't need them at the time, or certain ones that were concepts?
So it's funny enough, like Snakebite itself was born out of the fact that like an ex-girlfriend of mine, like she didn't like what the original story was. The original story was completely different, and the main character of Snakebite was a villain in that story, but my ex at the time was just telling me like, yeah, that story's kind of redundant, like she wasn't really feeling it, and it made me go sit back at the drawing board and like try to come up with something new, and that's what gave birth to Snakebite.
Okay. So growing up in your younger days, right? And what were certain influences, like I don't want to say detractors, let's say like when you first started doing your books, right? Did you have anyone that was like, it came off negative, but I wouldn't say out of maybe to protect, like to make sure like, well, they're not used to actually seeing somebody actually do it?
So for me, like honestly, like I guess like my family made me so, you know, conscious of my blackness that at a certain point I didn't realize it. Like I'm into punk rock and hardcore. Like I'm literally like a straight edge hardcore kid. But it's like when I started playing guitar, my family was always telling me like, yo, you gotta check out Johnny Guitar Watson. You gotta check out Jimi Hendrix. So it's like, even if I would like people that didn't look like me, my family always made me conscious and pointed me in a direction of people that, you know, look like me in comics, and that was kind of built in me to the point where it's like my favorite season of Power Rangers was SPD, where there was a Red Ranger. You know, like I always like gravitated to, you know, things that kind of looked like me. And like I guess my original, you know, influences of like comics, like I was a real big fan of like Jeff Johns, like Grant Morrison, this artist that passed named Michael Turner, and like I loved their stuff regardless of how they looked. But like when I started, you know, really got in my head that I wanted to make comics, the person that kind of like gave me the push was like Kari Randolph, like an artist. And knowing Kari was an artist, and like the fact that like he looked like me, I was like, nah, like I really can do this. Like especially him, Kwanzaa from, you know, they have a comic. Well, Kari did the covers for a comic called Black that was written by a guy named Kwanzaa, and like that was like a huge inspiration that made me really want to do it. And like I have a mentor. My mentor's name is Greg Anderson Elise. He has a book called It's Nana, and like talking to Greg, I was like, oh shit, like this is really possible. Like, so all that sort of stuff.
Okay. Now, growing up, to remove from the family part of it, being around your peers, like the same ones, like the same age you, were they? Cause you know how some of us get in a certain community. Us as kids, we like to play around a little too much. Like, did you ever like got the kids that's the same age as you now? Are they able to see it and be like, and probably be like, and give you credit like, oh that's what's up?
So funny enough, bro, like I never really had like comic book friends like when I was a kid, bro. Like me and my homies, like we talked about like trap music, like when I was in middle school, like we was up like. It's funny enough, I tell people I've never been a Jeezy fan, not to say Jeezy's not a good rapper, but me and my homies were so into Gucci, like we vowed to never listen to Jeezy. So like, I've never heard a Jeezy album, but like I'm a big Gucci fan. So like, as far as my friends in school, bro, like we never really talked about comics. Like people knew I was in the comic books, because you know I have like comic book T-shirts. Like I might have action figures in my bag, but like. That was kind of my thing, and then like when we were growing up and people were getting into video games, I got into guitar. So I've kind of always had a weird dichotomy with my friends where it's like comics were my personal thing. Like that was something I rock with regardless of it. Other people are into it. Like, and you know, me and my homies that was really into punk rock and going to mosh pit, we was doing that. Me and my homies in school talking about what's going on in hip hop or just like things in our neighborhood. But now that I've gotten older and I'm in the comics, they're like, yo, like, it's dope that you're doing it. It's not even like anything that people are taking away from it. They're like, yo, bro, it's money in it. Because it's also gotten more popular in the sense of like, my homies, when I'm sitting there obsessing, trying to go see Watchmen in the spirit, they wasn't really trying to go do that. But it's like now everybody goes to see the Avengers movies, all the Marvel stuff. And like, when we were little kids, everybody was kind of into it because everybody watched cartoons. But even now as adults, like they're able to recognize it and check it out.
Okay. Now, is there anyone on the indie scene, like when you start creating your books, that kind of help shape your business?
For me, like I said, my mentor Greg, bro, like, you know, I take a lot of stuff from Greg in the sense of like, bro, like talking to him, like, because I started like my company or what would become my company kind of during the pandemic. So, you know, I was doing Zooms with Greg, just like trying to talk and soak up game. And I'm always walking around at different cons, bro. Like I literally just copped some more indie books like today at this con. And you know, for me, I feel like a good idea is a good idea. Like I'm looking around at like the major guys, the smaller guys. I'm also still relating this like stuff to music. Like right now, I'm on a tour, hustling right now, trying to hit markers I haven't hit. Just like I was in a punk band or like an upcoming rapper. Like.
Okay. So where can people check y'all out at?
Yo, so you can find us on Instagram at Blacktooth Publishing, like Instagram, YouTube. What else? Facebook, not a Facebook, but my website. My website is blacktoothpublishing.com. My books are on Amazon. If you search Blacktooth Publishing or search Adastra, Dogpile, and Snakebite. You can also find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook as Premium Artillery. I'm like learning how to draw and showing the process of me transition. I don't want to say transitioning from a writer to an artist, but just, you know, practicing and drawing every day as Premium Artillery.